Welcome to College Admissions Toolbox, giving you the edge you need to get into the colleges of your dreams. With your host, Steve Schwartz. That's me. Today, we're talking with Abdisamad Adan. Welcome to College Admissions Toolbox, Abdisamad. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited to feature you. Now, you have an absolutely incredible story. You grew up in Somaliland, and now you're starting at Harvard. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
That's amazing. I'm sure that all of our listeners out there are going to want to know a little bit more about you and how did you end up getting there in the end?
Well, I would say it was very, there are a lot of luck to it. I grew up in Hargeisa, which in Somaliland, a breakaway country, a breakaway region of Somalia. I guess a lot of people know about Somalia, but they don't usually know about Somaliland. Somaliland is just part of Somalia. But the only distinction is that Somaliland is Somaliland has been autonomous country region of Somalia for about 22 years, about 24 years right now. And growing up in Hargeisa, I went to a public school in small neighborhood in Hargeisa. And when I was at that, as a primary student, primary school student, and when I was at that school, I never thought there are no plans for me to go to college and all that, right? But I knew I needed to just do well in my primary education, and my grandmother tried her best to push me hard, even though she was not educated at all, and she did not really know what I was like. I could just show her, if I write the same line again and again and tell her I did my homework, she will believe it, so long as there is something drawn on the page. So she literally did not she doesn't even read or write in Somali, so that was the case. But she was very successful. She managed to get me through my primary education, and when I took the 8th grade national exam, and I get the opportunity to take the entrance exam for Abaarso School, which is very much Abaarso School and SOS, which are the two secondary schools that people the top 1% students from Somaliland go to. And I took the entrance exam. I was lucky to pass that, and I get into Abaarso. And then when I came to Abaarso as a freshman, I really did not speak English much. I remember the first few days when I came to Abaarso, a teacher will come up to me and say, "Hey, which room do you live in?" And I would say yes or no or whatever. And it was really difficult at first. And then in the process, I get the hang of English. We learn math. And then Abaarso gave me the opportunity to apply to a program run by an American, a program run by an American organization. The organization is named Assist, and I applied there and I get the opportunity to study my last year of high school in the United States. And I came back because it was part of the deal that I go there for 1 year and then come back to Somaliland and share my experience with the rest of our students here back home. And I came back, and instead of doing a gap year, I just worked for the school for a year now, and while applying to college, and I was lucky to get into the college I wanted to go.
Yeah, of course. I mean, definitely, it's lots of students' dreams to go to Harvard, to go to an Ivy League, to go to a top university. And obviously, I know that the scholarship from Assist helped you a great deal, and the Abaarso School helped you a great deal as well. But what I'm curious about is there are so many students in Somaliland and in Somalia and in other developing nations who want to go to top universities, and there are only so many wonderful nonprofit organizations, only so many scholarships out there, and most students who want these scholarships and want these opportunities are not able to qualify for them. There's probably far too few opportunities like this for way too many students, right? So what would you reason that you ended up getting this opportunity, getting these scholarships, getting to go to the Abaarso School when there are so many kids who are really willing to put in the work but don't get access to those opportunities?
Okay, that's a really good question. To be honest, like before I came to Abaarso, I did not even know these opportunities exist. But the only thing I knew was that I needed to get really like good education if I wanted to do anything good in this world. And looking at my family and the fact that no one has ever gone to college and no one like did really even cared about education, it was just me pushing myself to go to the next level. And sometimes I did not know what that next level would be, but I knew whatever level I was at, I needed to do well at that level. And in my primary education, I just really, like, without even having real idea of where I wanted to go to high school, I just tried my best. I did like what I was supposed to do. I did my homework constantly. I talked to teachers. Like, I just constantly stayed on top of whatever I had to do at that moment. And then when I get to the next level, then the opportunity to attend Abaarso came. And even coming to Abaarso, like as a freshman, I did not know I will ever get the chance to go to the US and study there or but I knew, like, from coming to Abaarso, I knew that like I had to make the most out of this opportunity. And in doing so, it was just like I had to do whatever. I had to take advantage of all the different opportunities that Abaarso had to offer, whether it's educational opportunities, whether it's learning English from native speakers, whether it's learning math, science, doing extracurricular activities, everything that came on my way, I knew like I had to just put my best effort into it, and probably after that, good things will come. And as it happened, like, I think the main factor that helped me get there was that I just like wanted to seize the moment every time. I did not like so many other people who, like, from the day they were born, like they will now, oh, I want to go to this college, I want to study there. Like, I did not know that. I just knew like I had to take very seriously of where I was at the moment, and in the next level, when I move up from there, then good things will come. And I think that's what I've been doing. And then when it came my time to apply to college, I did not pretend, like I did not look up like what other students who've gone to college said before me, because I knew there are just so many out there who say the same things. But I knew I just needed to tell, like, from talking to college counselors, everyone will just tell me, like, when you apply to college, just tell your true stories, because colleges are not looking for the same student throughout. They're looking for different students. And I knew the best way to share that was just share my story. And I think I shared my story good enough that they wanted to take me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, definitely just being honest and authentic, and given how you've overcome the odds through your drive, your determination, your persistence, and you really, defied the odds, and you clearly took advantage of every opportunity that you had. So I'm honestly in awe of you and super impressed. It's clear that your hard work really paid off. So, congratulations to you on that. You studied very hard even before you got to Abaarso, and obviously, Abaarso opened a lot of doors for you. Could you kind of get a little more specific with us about what exactly was your study process like? So take us to the moment in time immediately before you went to Abaarso. Where were you? Where were you studying? What was the average day in your life like in terms of your study regimen. What books were you studying? What topics were you studying? And what was the pivotal moment that got you Abaarso? Because that seems like when things really kind of took off for you.
My elementary school before Abaarso was basically taught in Somali, and like all the subjects were in Somalia. And when we learned, like literally had nothing to do with any kind of preparation for American high school. But the only thing we had in common was the math. And the math, even though we did not do it at the same level as other rising high school students, rising ninth graders, we did very okay on the entrance exam. And I think the reason I get into Abaarso was because I did relatively well compared with the other exam takers, but I wasn't at any point like close to a place where I was ready to go to high school and just go to college straight forward. And when I came to Abaarso, I remember us doing like 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade math in 1 year.
Oh, wow. So this is really like, would you say, Adan, that it was really the math that made the difference for you with getting into Abaarso?
Yeah. We had understanding of how mathematics worked, but our level of mathematics was not at the same level as like people who were going to normal, because the way the Somaliland curriculum is designed, it's not like where you take pre-algebra and then you take algebra and then like you take geometry and the numbers classes and then you take algebra 2, pre-calculus, calculus. Like it's not designed that way. It's like mixed of things and you just cover some things, you didn't cover other things that were required in 8th grade. And then like when we took the entrance exam, we did okay, but then the teachers noticed that we needed review on those other grades before we can move on to our level. And we did 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade math all together in my freshman year. And after that, I think for the math, we were at the same level as any other high schooler in America.
Oh, wow. So you did like 3 years of math in 1 year. That must have been a lot of homework, right?
Yeah, it's crazy amount of homework. Like the teachers will just say like, we've never had this much of homework in our schools. And we're like, we used to that much homework back in our schools, but we had to deal with it because that's the only way to get where we were trying to get. Yeah,
of course. So tell us a little bit about what your high school was like in terms of your life. I mean, you obviously studied a lot. Were you involved in any extracurriculars or any kind of activities? What did you do with your time outside the classroom aside from homework?
Well, outside of the classroom, I was in the varsity soccer team. For 2 years, I did basketball in the B team. I did some running. I was in the debate club, and overall, I was a proctor since I was a sophomore at Abaarso. And really, like proctors here, the role of proctors in Somaliland is different than the role of proctors in America. Like in here, we will participate in discipline hearings. We will deal with like all minor issues that occur in the dorm. Like we acted kind of dorm parents in some ways. So I was a proctor.
Oh wow! So you were kind of like a leader in the dormitory, like kind of like a student government kind of thing.
It was student government, but we were not elected by the students. We were chosen by the administration of the school, and that's how we get there.
Wow, that's really something. So it sounds like you were living in the dormitory. You weren't living with your family.
No, it's a boarding school. That's
Right,
the only
right.
way. I don't
Exactly.
think we could have done that much work in a day school. Like, the only reason we were able to do that was because, like, we'll do 7 hours of school, then we'll have our teachers all night, and like extra office hours, and like we had a lot to catch up. But in the end, I think we were about the same level as anyone.
It's almost like you're kind of having that college experience already, where there's no kind of separation between your personal life and your school life. You know, you're living with your classmates, your teachers are there all the time too. And so you kind of have the opportunity to form, like, I'm just guessing here, tell me what it was like for you, but you could have like study groups and you could get help from other kids and help from teachers and really make school your life in a way. Is that what would you say about that?
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly true. Like, we'll get together at night for upcoming exams, and we'll just like discuss and study together and quiz each other on the materials that we've studied in that chapter. And then like, if we have questions that we could not answer, then we'll just go to the teacher's office hours, or like even sometimes call the teacher and ask if they can like come over and like help out. And that's partially why we were able to succeed here.
Wow, that's just wild. So you ended up, obviously you were at Abaarso, you came, you got to do your last year of high school in the U.S. It was a high school in Dobbs Ferry, New York, right?
Yep, the master's school.
Right, so that's where you were at that school in the fall of your senior year, and that's where you were in the process of doing your college applications, where you ultimately got into Harvard, right?
It's a little weird, but not really. When I went to master's, as I said before, my deal with my contract with Assist was that I go there for 1 year and then come back to Abaarso and do another year here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So you were back at Abaarso, back in Somaliland, and that's where you applied.
Yeah, I did not apply from Dobbs Ferry. I just took classes and I did like as much as I could with SATs, and took the TOEFL over there because none of those tests are available in Somaliland. And yeah, I get the opportunity to take those tests, and then took some AB classes. And then when I came back to Abaarso, I just get the opportunity to work for the school. And like, not really, I didn't do a class, but I don't think I regret that. I think I've got very good experience working in real life.
Oh yeah, of course, no question about it. Now you're going to move on to Harvard. I'm wondering, what would you attribute, the reason that you got into Harvard? What would you say was the ultimate, like, number one thing that ended up getting you accepted there, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think it's hard to answer, because if you look at these colleges, they do holistic review of like every aspect of you, and sometimes it happens that like one particular aspect will not be sufficient to get you into college, like into any college. But when they look at different aspects, then in combination of those aspects might convince the college that you can survive in their campus and do well in there, and you deserve to be given the opportunity. And I think, but if I have to really mention one, I think it's probably like, yeah, academic is matter, and I probably like did okay that they will think, yeah, you can leave, like you can come to Harvard and do okay in here. But I also think like having the opportunity to do a gap year and work in real life and get some hands-on experience. And I mean, I was basically like participating in running the school, and I think that had a lot to do with me.
Oh yeah, sure. That's really valuable experience, no question about it. I want to shift gears now and move into my favorite part of the interview, which is the lightning round. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. You give me some rapid fire responses. Are you ready?
Right.
Great.
Yeah, I'm there.
Great. What's your number one piece of advice for the college admissions process?
I will definitely advise everyone to just be themselves first. And just like, there's no magic student that you want to pretend like being, and just try like to frame yourself as that person that every college will want to have. I think every college is looking for different people, and just present your best self. And if I will add one advice on that, I would say when you're doing the Common App, just like take every part of the Common App seriously. Like whether it's the supplements that the colleges have, whether it's the essay itself, like just make sure that you want to like share a new piece of information on every opportunity that's given to you, because you don't want to come off of someone who's repeating the same things on each essay. You want to like come off as someone who has a lot to share about themselves, and even like you want to show the college that there was not enough time for you to really present your whole self, and that they still have a lot more to learn about you.
Well, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Could you share with us one habit that you believe contributes to college admissions success?
Yeah, for sure. I think you have to be organized. I cannot emphasize enough. Like you have to know all the deadline is. You don't want to like miss any deadline, because then you're gonna come off someone who will not take anything seriously. So you don't want to miss any deadline is in the college administration process. You need to be organized, like time to review, time to submit, time to interview. Like you want to be on time on every aspect of it.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many deadlines, and you really got to stay on top of them. I'm wondering, I don't know how much you obviously got a lot of help from Abaarso in applying, but I'm wondering if there was any online college admissions resource, like a website or maybe a physical book that you thought is really valuable for college admissions.
I really use the college, but I know like a lot of students use different online.
Sorry, did you say the College Board?
Yeah, the College Board. I think like when I was sophomore at Abaarso, I just saw like one student returning from the US, and he had a College Board account, and he was trying to apply to colleges at that point. And I was like, oh, can I set up an account? And then I just set up an account, and then they will send the daily SAT question, and then like I'll just like look for the colleges that fit you the best, like look, and then like they'll just give you information about each college. And then I used that a lot, and I found that really helpful.
Great. No, the College Board is definitely the big dogs when it comes to college admissions. We'll definitely link to their website in the show notes, as well as the daily SAT question. I'm wondering, so you haven't told us. I know you specialized in math a lot. That was kind of one of your major skills and subjects. And I'm wondering, what are your plans? You're starting as a freshman at Harvard now. What are you hoping to major in, or what are you hoping to do with your career? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at economics. I want to do economics in there, and probably if I'm thinking about also doing something with psychology and political science, but I'll have to look at that when I get there and see how things are. But for now, I'm sure I'm going to do economics over there.
Absolutely. Really, really exciting stuff. I'm sure you'll excel in whatever you pursue, and definitely economics is a popular way to go these days. I know you gave me a link to your Twitter profile. Is that the best way for students to reach you?
I really don't use Twitter a lot, but I was hoping that I would start using it, and if people follow me, I can definitely update that. But I can give you my, I guess, like if someone wanted to talk to me, I'll think the best way is just through Facebook, and my Facebook account is Abdisamad Adan. I can send that over.
Great. We'll link to the Facebook profile in the show notes as well as the Twitter in case you decide to get on there. Thank you so much for joining us, Abdisamad. Really appreciate your time. Your story is incredible, and you gave a lot of insights and knowledge and inspiration to all our listeners around the world. So thank you so much for taking the time today. Really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for your interest in interviewing me.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for listening to College Admissions Toolbox. Head over to www.collegeadmissionstoolbox.com to get more free tools and resources that will help you get into the colleges of your dreams.